And open the Q&A thing. Alright, we are live. And we're going to chill here for a second until people start showing up. And then we'll get the show on the road. But until then, I'm going to keep playing with my Legos. This guy right here, this dude, Chris McVeigh, makes his own creations and then sells them on his website. So this is a little 35mm camera. It's so cute. It's got a little door in the back and it has film in it. Yay!
It's awesome.
That makes me so happy. The top of it, the thing you use to advance your film, is like a frying pan piece with like a little arm attached to it. It's adorable. So yeah, if I take this apart, you'll see it's a frying pan piece. Super cool. We should do a thing where we just talk about Lego all day long.
That sounds like a great idea.
New podcast, Lego Talk. Terry and Bill. All right. Cool. People are starting to show up in the live stream, which means we can get started. All right.
Shop clock.
Oh, I have one of those too. I believe my brother got me one of those for Christmas one year. Cool. All right. Let's get started here. Hey, everyone, and welcome to Prop Live, this show that we do every week over here at Punished Props, where you guys bring to us your prop and costume making questions, and we help you answer those questions so that you can make super awesome, cool props and costumes. This week we have a guest. This is Terry from Vector Sigma Creations. Hey Terry, how's it going?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Mr. Lego Man?
I'm doing great.
Terry and I had the opportunity to play a little Destiny earlier this week. That was a good time. Beat the raid.
Definitely.
Just the two of us, right? Two-man the raid.
Two-man the raid.
We had it was fun. We had me, my wife, Terry, some other prop making buddies, my shopmate, Will. It was a good time. Really fun. For once instead of creating, we destroyed. And it was really good. So Terry, you got to do this thing called Vector Sigma Creations. Is that a more than one person operation?
Basically, it's 90% me, but
okay.
My best friend Alan Snyder, he come up with a name, and he helps me out with some things, and whenever there's anything Pepakura, he's the one that starts it off.
Ah, very cool. So, for example, this Spawn Iron Man mask, was that done in Pepakura?
That started off as a Pepakura Iron Man helmet, and then I was just sitting there one day and wanted to do something kind of like the Boba Fett Iron Man mashup I did. I was thinking what kind of character I could do, and just Spawn just seemed to work. And
yeah. I really like the mashups. You mentioned the Iron Man Boba Fett. That is freaking rad.
That one was starting off when they were doing the As You Wish project on the RPF, and I was inspired by that. And I came up with this idea, and it turned out that someone else actually in the project had the same idea, but had a different take on it.
Yeah, that's cool. One of the neat things about doing a mashup is you could do basically the same concept and come up with radically different products.
Yeah.
I know one of the first things I saw you make that freaking knocked my socks off was the repeater from Bioshock Infinite, because I wanted to make one of these so bad, and then you made one, and I was like, oh, no problem. I was just done. He did it already.
That was one of my most fun projects, and I still miss that to this day.
What happened is, did you sell it off?
I sold it to an actor in Hollywood.
Wow, that's awesome.
He asked me about it. I threw out a ridiculous number, and he accepted. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Are you at liberty?
I'm shipping it now.
Which actor?
What is his name? He was in The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, I believe.
Steve Carell?
No,
Tim
he's not a
Carey?
he's not a huge actor. Dale Shane.
Dale Shane? Let's see here.
A lot of smaller parts.
I gotta see who this dude is.
I think he was in that one. I have the movie wrong.
Let's see here. There he is. This guy. He played Upscale Gentleman. That's awesome. Well, that's really cool. Let me click on the right thing. So anyway, yeah, Terry does this thing called Vector Sigma Creations. If you go to vectorsigmacreations.com or look them up on Facebook, you can keep up to date with all these really cool things that you guys have been working on. On your website, there is a contact form in case people are looking to drop you a line and perhaps request a commission of some sort if they want something made. I want to talk about the last couple of things you worked on. And I'm going to jump over to, let's see here, over to your Facebook, because that's where the pictures live. And this guy, that's what I want to talk about, the sniper rifle from Destiny.
That one was a beast.
Yeah, that was really fun to watch come together. So did you just have a hankering to make something from Destiny?
Yeah, I do stuff. Mainly, I build stuff that I want. I want that. I like that, so I'm going to build it. And Destiny, I played a beta. I fell in love with the game. A lot of people were making other weapons. The fusion rifle was already being done, and no one was doing a sniper rifle, and I liked it. So, luckily, Bungie, awesome people that they are, put out the high-res reference pictures.
Yeah.
And so I just printed it up to scale and went for it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it turned out great, and whoever ended up with it is a lucky person for sure. Now you're not done with Destiny, are you? You got something in the chamber, so to speak.
Yeah, I just started a Monte Carlo, which I'm going to restart because I'm not happy with what I started with. But yeah,
that's awesome. I'm excited. That's such a unique, cool piece. I have it in the game too. I'm more of a hand cannon guy. I don't really use it all that much, but what a cool, fun thing, and I'm really stoked to see how yours turns out.
I thought about it, Suros regime. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I thought about doing the Suros regime, but once I got the Monte Carlo and started using it, that was the one.
Yep. Fantastic. The last thing I need to grill you on before we get going here is I need to know where the name Weaselhammer came from.
Back in the day, the internet was starting to become popular, and there was some local chat rooms and stuff before they became ridiculously not good. I was changing. My original name was TSALI from the places in North Carolina where I used to ride mountain bikes and do races. And everybody kept mistaking me for a female. So I came up with a new name, and everything was taken, and I got frustrated, threw out something ridiculous, and it took. And it just had a nice ring to it.
Oh, that old story. I don't know, Weaselhammer. Oh, I guess I'm stuck with it. Awesome, man. Well, anyway, yeah. If folks go to Twitter and look up Weaselhammer, you'll find Terry, and you should definitely go follow him there. All right, cool. Before we get rolling for the show proper, we got some questions rolling in already. I just gotta talk about a couple things first. Do some shopkeeping around here. First of all, I got the book series I do called the Foamsmith Trilogy, and I took all of them. People are asking, they're like, what if I waited? What if I don't have them yet? And all three of the books are out. I said, well, you sir are in luck because I put them together in a bundle. So all three of the Foamsmith books, usually $5, are all together for $12.50 plus the Foam Armor Fast book that I wrote. So if you're looking to get the whole thing and you're looking for a good deal, go to punishedprops.com and you can grab it because it's pretty cool and people seem to really, really like it. I've seen lots of people posting pictures of armor and stuff that they made using techniques in the book, and I'm really excited about that. Also, another aside with punishedprops.com, people if they've been following it for a long time will know that it goes to props.punishedpixels.com because that was my old photography blog. No longer. I didn't fix it. My friend John Funk _Funk, he fixed it because he's a freaking wizard. But now my website domain is proper and tidy, and if you go to punishedprops.com, it stays that way. The last thing I've got here, of course, is to first thank everyone who's helped support this show on Patreon at patreon.com/punishedprops. And if you are watching and you want to help out the show a little bit, you can head on over there and throw a little money at the show. And if we hit our next goal, it'll help improve the show a little bit and turn it into a real, actual audio podcast feed. It's our next goal. So again, if you're watching live, or even if you're watching the show archived later on, it definitely would be rad to go check that out and help us out. That's it. Are you ready to start answering some questions there, Terry?
Let's do it.
Let's freaking do it, man. All right. Earlier today, I posted the thing on Facebook, and people started throwing questions at it, so I'm going to start asking some of those. This one's from Lee. Lee used a tip from Foamsmith Volume 1 where you sharpen the edge of a pipe to cut little circles. He's trying to make them tapered a little bit, though, like a cone with like the tip cut off. He's having problems with that. I can see how that would be really challenging. Do you have any ideas how one might do something like that, Terry?
I'm not that experienced with foam, but if I was doing something like that, if I couldn't make it some sort of jig to cut it evenly, or bevel it evenly, I'd think more of, instead of stacking the foam pieces, trying to make the shape, making a paper pattern and making the shape of one smooth piece, so you wouldn't have to try to sand it into that shape.
Yeah, you might also, if you're trying to keep the circle that you cut out, instead of cutting it out of foam, if it's like supposed to be a rivet or something, I might cut it out of something more rigid, cut it out of wood or plastic. I'd use like PVC foamed sheet. And then I would use something like my disc sander with a little angle on the thing on the bed to bevel the ends of it. I feel like if you were doing that with a tiny piece of foam, the disc sander would just go and suck it right in, and it would be obliterated and gone forever. So just because you're making your armor out of foam doesn't mean you have to make all the pieces out of foam. You could do it out of something more rigid. All right, this one is from Katie. Is there any specific prep needed for making a mold and casting of a finished and painted EVA foam prop as opposed to clay or epoxy sculpt? Have you ever molded foam, Terry?
No,
I have not.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, my concern with that. I'm just concerned that the textured part of the foam is going to grip onto your silicone and make it impossible to get out of the mold. What do you think?
That is valid. I don't know if it's coated with anything to make it, it just said it was painted, but if it's not coated, that would definitely be a problem.
Yeah.
You definitely have to have it some sort of rigid. Even if it didn't stick to the silicone, you would need to reinforce the inside somehow so it keep its shape while you're molding it.
Yeah, I would recommend, and I haven't tried this, but I do like Epsillon a lot. It's an epoxy coating for foam, and I just did a video where I built some hammered metal armor, and I used 2 coats of Epsillon there, and that sealed it really, really well. I bet I could mold that piece of cake, no problem. It would totally work. So if you're going to do it out of foam, then seal it really, really well. That would be my recommendation.
Get that starter kit from Smooth-On, and it would only cost less than $30 for it.
Yeah, that's all I've ever bought is that little kit. A little bit goes a very long way with that stuff. We did. We had a starter kit of that we used for both of our Draugr armor, and we had leftovers. All right, thank you, Katie, for your question. Here's one from Jay Cosplay. I was wondering if either of you are familiar with silk screen decals. I recently found out that it's the same way that they had logos and types of video game consoles, remotes, etc. It's supposed to be extremely hard wearing. Have you ever? I've never done that for props. Have you ever done anything with silk screening?
Nope, I had silk screen T-shirts a long time ago. That's the.
I did the same thing in like middle school.
Yeah.
I know that the way that we did it was we made a digital file, printed it out, and then used like photography chemicals to make. You basically make a stencil on a piece of silk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's YouTube videos that kind of describe it better, but that's the gist of it. And then you lay that silk on a piece of something. You brush on ink or some other kind of decal material. No, I think that would be amazing. That would be a really great way to, especially if you have to churn through a lot of pieces that are repetitive things. But the materials and the tools necessary to ramp up to that, I would imagine, are prohibitively expensive.
Especially if you're only doing one prop. Yeah.
Yeah. I prefer to just make a stencil. I have a vinyl cutter, but I could do it out of masking tape as well, and then just spray a little paint on there and then peel it off. Most of the time when I'm finishing something, I'm not doing it mass production. So silk screening would be a little bit of an overkill, I think. All right. Here we go. Let's start grabbing some from the live Q&A app. Again, if you guys are watching live, there's a Q&A app. You can ask your questions here. You can vote on questions that you want so that they get shot up to the top of the list. This one's from Jay Diggy. It says, "Hi, Bill. I'm working with metal and was wondering if you have any suggestions for finishing. I have a belt sander if it helps." Have you ever done painted metal, Terry?
As far as paint, no. All my stuff has been plastic and wood, basically.
Most of my stuff.
The primer is the most important thing.
Yeah, you may need to use an automotive primer if you're looking for a good primer to use on your paint for metal. But also, there's something called Adhesion Promoter. I'm gonna double check that. Painting, yeah, Duplicolor makes one. Yeah, Duplicolor Clear Adhesion Promoter. It's a rattle can stuff you can spray on your metal that's basically an adhesive, but it bonds well to metal, and then whatever paint you put on top of it will bond well to that. So if you're having, I would say just try and paint it with like primer and paint like normal. If you're having problems though, grab some of that Adhesion Promoter and check it out. My buddy was painting a Captain America shield, and that's what he did. He sprayed that on first. All right. Thank you, Jay Diggy. Here we go. Oh, this is cool. This is from Joseph. He's been watching some one-day builds over on Tested. You watch any of those ones that Adam Savage does?
Yes. I remember the one he did for the well, never mind. I can't remember.
Was it the Barbarella gun?
No, he made it. I remember he made a case for the little revolver, the stuff from the movie.
The Blade Runner gun.
That's it.
Yeah, that was really cool. Anyone watching, if you haven't checked out the one-day build that Adam Savage does, just look up Adam Savage one-day build. He's done a couple of them over on the Tested's video site on YouTube, and they're really neat. It's really neat to see someone like him work the way he does with a time constraint, because he is fast.
He is a fanatic, too.
Oh, yeah. And his shop is awesome.
Yes.
What was I? Where were we going with this? Oh, he uses LDF for a lot of the stuff. Low density fiberboard as opposed to medium density fiberboard. It doesn't have formaldehyde in it, and it's lighter. Joseph wants to know if I've ever tried it, or if either of us have ever tried it, or if we have any thoughts on it. Have you ever had a chance to try out LDF?
I have not tried it. I remember, I believe someone asked on Volpin's Facebook page about it one time, and it made me look it up. And it seems like something I'm interested in trying. It seems machinable. Like you said, it's safer without formaldehyde in it.
My problem is I can't
comes
find
out
it.
Of the places.
Yeah, I can't find it locally. I don't know where to get it. As far as I can tell, maybe it's proprietary. Like only one company does it. LDF.
Yeah, it's one place that comes out of South America with a sustainable forest area, and one company makes it, and there's only a few distributors that get it.
Yeah, it's hard to get
it shipped, and it can be expensive.
But I definitely want to find some if I have a chance. But like I said, it's hard. Like if you're buying big hunks of wood, you usually get that locally. You usually don't get that on Amazon. At least not yet. I am this close to ordering rolls of L200 foam. There's a place on Amazon. I'll have Britt put that in the show notes. L200 foam is an EVA foam, and it's different densities, and you can get like 4 foot by 8 foot sheets of it. without any textures on it. So I'm gonna grab. I think I'm gonna grab some of that for my Destiny armor. Do you have any hankering to build any Destiny armor pieces or helmets?
Oh, every time I get new armor for my Titan, I want to build that, and then I get new armor again, I want to build that. You know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I think I'm gonna build for my helmet. I think I might actually build a base shape of one of the knight pieces, one of the earlier pieces, because they're kind of modular, so I could build all the parts to swap in and out.
I actually thought about building one of the guys from Mars.
Oh, the Cabal! Oh my God, that'd be amazing. That would be so cool. All right, here we go. Another question. We could just sit and talk about Destiny and Legos. All right, Jonan K Cosplay says, I'm looking into making articulating spider arms. Do either of you have pointers on moving parts on a costume? Moving parts. Do you have any insight, Terry?
I think the most important thing on something like that, because someone asked me one time about the Iron Spider costume. And the hardest thing is attaching it to the costume in a stable way where it's not all floppy and just all over the place. Making sure it's solid to your body and it's going to be more comfortable and work properly. Other than that,
yeah, I would say do lots of functionality tests with whatever materials you're going to use before you finish it, before you make it look right. Because I've done this all. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You have an idea in your head and you're like, oh, it's totally going to work. And then in practice, it doesn't work at all. Like, the physics just don't work.
And then you go run through the RPF threads trying to find something better.
Yeah, definitely. So do lots of functionality tests before you commit to your final thing. There you go. So good luck, Jonan K. Cosplay, on that. All right. Let's talk about... So Adam wants to know about clear coating something that's white. He wants to be able to wash something. So for example, I was building a Mass Effect gun. The Phalanx is white. And when you're painting something that's white, after it's dry, as soon as you touch it, it becomes dirty. There's no way. You're going to have this problem with your Monte Carlo, keeping it spotless.
Oh gosh, now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, so Adam wants to know, he wants to be able to wash it. I imagine he means like during the painting process, like if it gets dirty, if you can wash it. Because I would say after it's finished and you clear coat it, with whatever clear coat you have, it's gonna be clean. And if it gets dirty, you can probably wash it with soap and water. What are your plans to help keep your Monte Carlo clean while you're painting it?
Put it on the wall and no one touch it. No, I definitely I'd make sure the clear coat's cured. That one will probably be the first time I use a gloss clear coat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to test a piece, maybe paint a piece, test it, clear coat it, let it set up while I'm building it, and then do some test on that and make sure it works. What's going to eat through it. Did you
check out Harrison Frick's new painting book yet?
Yes, I purchased it last night and I read through about a third of it.
Yeah,
he is a good writer.
Oh, he's really good. His 2 rules: 1, read the can, and 2, test things out. And I like that you pointed out whatever you're gonna do for your finishing your white piece of whatever, test it out beforehand to make sure that you're going to be able to get the grime off if it gets messed up. I'd also say while you're working on it, work with rubber gloves and dispose of them frequently, and make sure you let everything dry. Give it extra time to dry, because if you touch a wet piece of white paint and some grime or oils come off your fingers and then it dries in the coat of paint, it's stuck there, and you just have to either sand it or paint over it. There you go. But good luck. Good luck keeping your white gun clean, Adam. Thank you for your question. All right, this one's from Catherine. Catherine is currently resin casting a weapon out of a few separate pieces. Do you have any suggestion for glues to use to attach the pieces together? Do you have any favorite adhesives, Terry?
I had on my Destiny sniper rifle, there was a really important part that I did not want to come apart, and I used this really. I bought a good two-part epoxy, and it failed.
Really?
Yeah. So far, I just this Bob Steiner acrylic is my best glue, but the epoxy maybe on a rougher texture might work better, but I haven't found it to be any stronger.
Yeah. What I'll frequently do when I'm putting kits together, if it's got like two different pieces, like gluing a handle to a body of a pistol or something, I will take, let's say, the handle, and I will drill a hole in it, and then I will screw in a big burly screw, right? And I'll epoxy that into place, and then screw it in, and then I'll cut the screw head off, drill a hole in the other piece that it's attaching to, and epoxy that, and then jam it together. That way that screw is in there, and it's embedded in one of the pieces, and it's pretty tight on the other one, so that you have both a physical connection and a chemical connection when you're adhering them.
I did something like that with the Bioshock machine gun that you showed earlier. When I was attaching the wooden handle to the body, I put screws in the wooden handle, and I actually poured resin and let it cure in there where it would not come apart again. And the screws gave it that light where it's not going to pull out.
Yeah, good plan. As far as adhesives, I usually just use two-part epoxies most of the time when I'm putting kits together. I mean, I have like a 5-minute epoxy, and it seems to work really well. If I have metal pieces, I'll use JB Weld, because it's awesome. But for the most part, yeah, I just use epoxy and physical connections where possible. Thank you, Catherine. Here we go. This one is from Eric. He has a great idea for a set of coasters. That sounds familiar. He's completely new to this mold making thing. Where, when, and what for mold release? Is Sculpey a good choice for making the prototype out of before molding and casting? So, have you done much molding and casting, Terry?
I've done some little things. It seems like my more involved stuff doesn't work out that great, but I just did. I'm doing my Mandalorian.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Stuff, and it's just a simple flat one-part mold. And actually, on this, I haven't really been using a mold release because it just comes out perfectly. But I've heard baby powder.
Yeah. What did you make the master out of for that?
This was. I can find it. It's right here. I made it out of Sintra.
Okay, there you go.
I had a sticker, and I put the sticker on there as a pattern. I cut it out by hand, and after a day or so of treating my hand for arthritis, I made a flat disc and glued it on there. I made a ring, and that was it. It was like a 4-hour prop.
Yep. Now, I've seen people, I've never done this before, but I've seen people go, right before they mold stuff, they'll actually hit it with a clear coat. I don't really do that. Some people, if they're bonkers like Harrison, will put it down to a mirror finish, and then they wax the piece before it gets molded, which is a pretty good idea as far as getting the silicone off after it's cured. And then when you're casting stuff, like you mentioned baby powder, I like using that because it helps get the resin into the crevices and everything. But you can also just use a spray mold release, like Ease Release 200 from Smooth-On.
I have the man's mold release, and that's always worked well.
Mm-hmm. You also don't necessarily have to put mold release in the mold, depending on the pieces that you're curing. If it's like a big sort of evenly shaped surface without a lot of texture, you don't necessarily have to put a ton of mold release in there. It depends. And also it depends on the life of your mold. So for example, baby powder is a great release agent. It also sucks the moisture out of your silicone, which is something I learned. So if you're gonna do 50 pulls of something, then you want to baby those molds and use mold release on them to sort of, like in between castings, to sort of reinvigorate them. You're saying about cold casting?
Yeah, when cold casting, when you dust a mold with the powder, that acts like some mold release too, and it also helps keep the air bubbles out.
Yeah, exactly.
On its own.
Man, have you done any cold castings of those Mandalorian logos?
Yeah. This has been my favorite so far. I've sold a couple.
Oh, yeah.
I tried a bronze, didn't work out good. Bronze turned out red.
Oh wow. What
a gold.
What tint did you put a colored tint in the resin?
Right now all I have is that So Strong black tint, and just 2 drops.
Yep, that's the same thing I do. Yep, as the name would suggest.
And wear gloves because when you get on your skin, everybody's gonna think you've been working on your car for a week.
Yeah. All right, thank you, Eric, for your. He says, "Is Sculpey a good choice for the prototype?" Sure, Sculpey is just fine. Just make sure it's cured all the way, or cooked, or dried all the way before you start molding.
Fab Studios uses that a lot.
Yeah, Lee is really, really good at that.
Yes.
She does a lot of. She'll cook her Sculpey and then sort of finish it afterwards. There's a lot of sculpting to it afterwards. All right, here's one from Rob. Rob's a frequent questionnaire on the show here. Is it a good idea when box molding to use a thin down print coat before pouring in the main bulk of silicone to get more detail and avoid bubbles? Is that only needed for brush on silicone? You can do it for both, definitely. Did you have to do any brushing with your Mandalorian mold there?
No, I just dumped it in there.
Yeah. If you have tiny details that are prone to catching bubbles, then you don't have to worry too much about it. What I'll usually do, like I may not even do a thinned coat. I'll just mix up all my silicone, put a little bit on the mold, then get a brush and finesse the silicone into any areas where I'm worried might have some bubbles, and then I'll pour the rest of the silicone on there. That's usually what I do for like box molds. All right, cool. Good luck with your brush on or your box mold there, Rob. Let's see here. This one's from Suzanne. Do you have any beginner advice on how to finish a resin kit, like painting? Also, is it the same for cold casting? What do you got for kit finishing, Terry? Do you have any pointers?
Make sure it's clean before you start. Make sure any kind of release agent and stuff is washed off of it with a mild soap and water, and don't get focused if you're doing any kind of sanding to it. Don't try to focus on one area because next thing you know you'll have a dip sanded into it, not paying attention, and you have to even it all out again. And there's a popular prop maker that just put out an eBook.
Hey, yeah, there's a guy. I'll tell you all about it. What I would say is, first of all, I have a couple of videos on my YouTube channel that show me finishing kits that I picked up from other prop makers, including some from Harrison. So we'll put some links to those in the show notes. But yeah, those are really good descriptions here. Now I would say just say patience. I know I'll get a kit in the mail, and I'll be like, I have to finish it now, and then just go crazy, and then I don't wait for the paint to dry, and it's nothing but infinite sadness. So I would say just be really patient with every step of the way.
Yes.
Thank you, Suzanne. All right, next question here from the Q&A app. So this one's from Gilbertiz. What do you recommend to use to cover and fill imperfections in EVA foam that will flex and won't crack and can be sanded smooth? Well, I mentioned my favorite Epsillon earlier, so that you can definitely use that to fill in little imperfections and stuff. Have you done much stuff with the EVA foam, Terry?
No, everything I've read, and it seems like the best thing that I've seen is what you mentioned, the Epsillon. That seems to be the most popular thing going right now.
There you go. Mission accomplished. That was easy. Okay, this next one here is from Gibtal. All right. I finished my first full cosplay a while ago. Congratulations. And I'm having a hard time finding some way to display it. Mannequins are so expensive. Do you know a good surface for cheap mannequins? Or is it worth spending the time to make a tape and foam cast of myself? You could probably look on Craigslist for stores that are going out of sale or out of business, and then go buy they may be throwing away mannequins. Like, who knows? But just keep your ear to the ground for that sort of thing. I do have a torso cast of myself. that's sitting in the other room, so that's handy to throw armor on every once in a while. What do you think, Terry?
If you can make a base, a sturdy base, you could do like a duct tape torso dummy of yourself. Get a friend to help you. I've done it one by myself, and that's not fun. You do a duct tape dummy, stuff in the newspaper, something light, so it won't tip over easy, and that might work out. I did a set of Boba Fett armor on that before.
Mm-hmm. I like the duct tape dummy thing. We did that to make a pattern for my wife one time, and that worked out really, really well.
You just wear like an old shirt you don't want anymore, cover yourself with duct tape cover, or have a friend do it, and then you cut it up one side, get out of it, tape it back together, and stuff it with something. It's pretty easy.
That's some good info there. Cool. I was just looking. I was trying to look. My shopmate has like a really nice looking stuffed torso cloth thing. I'll have to ask him what that is and see if I could link that somewhere. But yeah, there's lots of options. Go out there and check them out. Hey, this one's from some dude named Gary Sterley. I know that guy. He just finished a Warlock helmet that looked really cool. I'm gonna link to it.
I've seen it. It looks good.
Gary Sterley Studios. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. All right, here's the thing. I don't even have. I do have a Warlock, but I don't play it that much. There, check that out. Yeah, so good. If you guys want to see that, go over to Gary Sterley Studios on Facebook. Check it out. All right, what's his question? He's doing the first slush cast on a helmet I recently molded. I'm getting good results, but I want to make it great. I have experienced both small bubbles around the fine details and some small spots of delamination. Any tips? Do I ever? Have you ever rotocasted something, Terry? It's a fun time.
The closest thing I've done for rotocasting is just deck on the inside of a pepper curry helmet. When I'll slush stuff on the inside of that.
Yeah. So what I'll do is pour in a little. Now you don't when you're rotocasting something like a helmet, you don't have to pour in so much resin that you cover the entire inner surface. You can work a little bit at a time. So pour in a little bit, slush it around, and then like get a flashlight and look in there and see if there are any areas that are collecting bubbles. And what I'll do is I'll take my air gun and I'll just hit it with air to pop those bubbles or push them out of the way. If you're really desperate, just take your finger and just jam it in there and smear it around so that you get the inner surface covered. It may take a couple of passes to cover the inside of the mold, but you'll catch all of that detail, which is what's most important. Wear a glove if you're going to smear your finger in there. But yeah, don't count on gravity pulling the resin into those deep areas. As far as delamination is concerned, just make sure you're getting new layers in before the old layer cures. I assume you're using something like 65D, but I've seen people... Actually, here's another tip. Use something like Smoothcast 300 for your print coat, because it has a lower viscosity and it will catch those details better. And then you can, while that's still curing, you can go back in with like 65D because that's a little bit better for rotocasting. So there's a couple things for you to try out, Gary. Hopefully that helped out. And your helmets look awesome.
Yes.
Okay, here's one from Cosplay Armory. Do you have any experience when it comes to stilts or know how to make stilts? I'm trying to figure out the best thing to add some height for a future project, but it doesn't match with conventional stilts. So if you're going to make a Cabal, Terry, they're like 8 feet tall, and you're going to need some stilts.
Yeah. I would probably... I don't know if I would do stilts. I'd probably make the boots with a lot of padding. I'm 6'3" myself, so...
Okay.
If I could add, another 10 inches with foam padding on the bottom of the boots, I don't know, that might be too much. It'd be like Kiss walking out there with platform shoes.
That's pretty common. I mean, you'd be surprised when you add like just 4 inches of rise to your heels, how much of a difference that makes.
Yeah.
Other than that, you can go look up painter's stilts. Let's see, I have a picture here if I can share this. The way these work is they strap to your shins so that you can just walk around with them. You may have to invest in them. They're not going to be super cheap. In fact, I would not get the cheapest ones. I would get good ones if your safety depends on it. But you could build your armor on top of that, and then you have, like, I don't know, another couple of feet in some cases. There you go. All right, this one's from Lossy Films. Oh, there's a picture. Let me grab this picture here. Thank you for the tiny URL. That's super helpful. All right, I recently bought a Kill la Kill scissor blade from Volpin. Those things look really cool. When it came, the tip was broken off. Ah, curse you, whoever sent it. Do you have any suggestions on how you would fix it? Here's a picture. Okay, let's look at this picture. Yeah, the very, very tip of it looks like that broke off, which is a super bummer. How would you fix that, Terry?
Let me see. I'd probably just glue it on. How does it, depending on how it fit in there? Did it fit in there with, really tightly? And I just maybe if it's too small to pin it, just glue it on.
Yeah, you mentioned pinning it though. That might be the best bet. You could just drill it into the main body and put in like a metal pin, like a small nail or something. And even if you have just like a tiny bit sticking out, like a 1/16 of an inch, just a little bit extra might be enough to really help that thing grip back on there. So there you go. But I think it's so tiny. I think that even just like a little bit of epoxy or something would be enough to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck with your fix there, because I know how disappointing it can be when something shows up and it's just broken when it gets there. Have you ever shipped something and had it be broken when you got there?
Yeah, the sniper rifle happened.
Oh no!
I bet that wooden crate, and I don't even know how it happened because he said the crate was undamaged. And
oh wow!
Part of it was no big deal. He fixed it easy, and but still, I was just flabbergasted how did it even happen. That took a lot of care in packing it. Things like that happen.
Yeah. Yep. I did. I way back before when I was first learning how to like ship stuff, I'd made like a Protoss pylon lamp thing. It was all these pieces glued together, and I shipped it somewhere for myself. Like I shipped it to my hotel, so it would be there waiting for me. And when I got there and opened it, it was just a box of pieces. Every glued connection snapped off because the box I made was crap. It just got pummeled. But I was able to glue it back together.
A lot of times I'll message people when I'm sending out something and say, I hope you like bubble wrap.
Yeah, bubble wrap.
I use a ton of it.
Yep, totally. I like that squishy foam you can get too. Here we go. We got another one from Jonan K Cosplay. Back to Destiny. Do either of you plan to make the Galahorn? Mm-hmm. Galahorn.
That looks like a big job.
Yeah.
I want to know who made the commercials.
I do too. That was pretty rad. I do know one of my buddies is a artist. Let's see, Destiny. At Bungie, and he did not make Galahorn, but he made some of the other stuff. So I know when they were like building it, the input was always like, add more wolves. Let's take a look at this guy here. More wolves. So this thing has like a wolf head on the top. It's got wolf emblems everywhere. It's got so much detail on it. It's really, really cool. It's not my favorite thing from the game. So I don't know that I would be... It would have to be a real passion project for me to spend the time to do, or someone would have to dump a big pile of money at my feet to make that guy. So I don't plan on building it, but... I
would like to see someone pay Harrison to make that.
I agree. Me too. I do want to see it built, but I don't necessarily want to do it myself. Unless someone else has like $5 or $6 grand lying around and they just want to throw it at me, then I could be swayed. But that's like 3 months of work there.
Yeah.
All right, let's grab another one. Hey guys, these questions are really great. I'm glad you guys are showing up, bringing such awesome questions here. This one's from It's Kiwi, another frequent questionnaire. Ooh, this is a good one. What's your favorite background noise while you're working, like podcasts or music or whatever? What do you like to do when you're working, Terry?
I have a playlist on my phone that's not, a lot of it's just kind of like all older hard rock and stuff like that, stuff to kind of keep you in and motivating music.
Yeah, it's like you're like Tony Stark working with ACDC and stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. A little bit of Daft Punk on there, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It changes genres, but pretty much anything uplifting and motivating music, like workout
Very
music.
good.
So.
I do listen to lots of music here. We'll take a peek. Spotify. Let's take a peek at my Spotify. Can I share this? Let me see if I can screen share this. I can. All right. Let's see. This is not what I listen to. I just made a playlist of everything from my freshman year of college. I have a chiptunes playlist that's really good for like getting work done. I have an all ska station because I listen to third wave ska almost exclusively. I have sort of a pop punk station, and then I have one I call Get Shit Done. This is my sort of motivational playlist. So yeah, I do. I listen to lots of music when I work.
I have everything from Tom Jones to Queen to Metallica, all kinds
Very
of
nice.
Michael Jackson,
Awesome.
Stone Temple Pilots, all kinds of stuff.
All right, thank you for your question, It's Kiwi. I like getting questions that aren't directly related to prop making, but more about like just the process. All right, this one is from Fubard Commissions. I like that name. Hey, I'd like to get your opinion on liability coverage or insurance for a prop business. You know what, Fubard Commissions? I'd like to get your opinion about that too. Hypothetically speaking, if you were to offer a functional item someday, or if someone asked you to use your prop and got hurt, I will tell you this: people have asked me in the past to build paintball masks for them or airsoft masks for them, and I will not do that. That's
same here.
I do not make safety equipment. There's a pile of credibility and certifications and stuff you need to do that sort of thing. So anything that I'm gonna build for someone, it's done with them knowing that this is a prop, this is a replica, this is not functional, and if they imply that they're gonna use it in a way that's not simply decorative, then I will not build it for them.
The good old Predator paintball mask.
Yeah. What I do tell people though is if they want, like you can go buy a paintball mask or buy a good airsoft mask and then modify it yourself. Don't remove. I would not remove material, but you could like sculpt something on top of it. But I will not do that for someone else, and I will certainly not make something from scratch that will be used to protect your eyeballs. And as far as liability insurance and stuff, that would all be like business insurance if you're working like in a commercial space and you have someone else show up there and they hurt themselves, you definitely want insurance for that. All right, this one's from Courtney. Let's see here. Do you have any recommendations for good quality paints that blend well and don't chip? Also, what are your stances on airbrushes? Any recommendations? What are your favorite paints, Terry?
Most of my stuff is rattle can, and I seem to be partial to Rust-Oleum, even though a lot of people tend to go to Krylon. I just have a problem with Krylon curing for some reason. Other than that, like acrylic paints, I just use the cheap Walmart 99-cent stuff, and it's not the smoothest stuff in the world, but it goes on good. I mix it pretty good. And airbrushing, I've used it a little bit. I have a lot to learn with airbrushing.
I think everyone feels like they have a lot to learn when it comes to airbrushing. I know I do, and I do it all the time. At some point I would love to sort of get a baseline for the paints I like to use, but I have so many different paints in my shop right now, and every time I do a project I use different paints. So, by the way, go check out Harrison Crick's new painting book at volpin.com. And I really want to kind of like narrow down the paints I use. Now that I have a pretty good. I've tried lots of stuff. Narrow it down to just a handful of stuff that I really need for the basic stuff, and then have some other things for special effects type things. But there's easily like 200 cans of spray paint in the room next door. It's out of control. All right, thank you, Courtney. Let's see here. What's the first electric sander you recommend buying? Do you have any favorites?
Just still got right here.
Oh, there you go.
Little mouse sander. It's got the corners. The sandpaper is inexpensive. It zips off on Velcro, pops on. It gets into places and just does an amazing job for less than $20.
Who makes that?
This is a Black & Decker. I have like a much nicer sander that I never use because it's loud and it tears the. This one is a little bit weaker, so like if you're doing stuff like resin, it's not gonna like burn through your prop.
Cool. So you call it the Black & Decker makes it? It's a mouse sander.
Yeah, I think a couple companies make the same thing. They're all kind of interchangeable. Interchangeable pads here.
I think I want one of those now.
Yeah, I love this thing. I think they're less than $20 or right at $20.
Yeah, I see a Black & Decker one for $27 on Amazon. I see a $20 one by Genesis. That's great. I like that it's got that point on it.
Mm-hmm.
There you go, Nick. Go get that one. Done.
Other than that, I just have my tabletop belt sander.
I think I counted. I have like 10 different sanders over there.
A warrantless spindle sander.
I got one of those, and that thing is awesome. Here we go. This one's another one from It's Kiwi. Sitting here cutting paper templates, struggling with a blunt razor blade. No. So, do you prefer buying lots of cheap disposable blades or getting one and a great sharpener? I have both. I got like 100-pack of those number 11 X-ACTO blades. And I also have a really good Kershaw sharpener. So I'll have a blade and I'll just keep sharpening it. But when the tip of it breaks off, you can't sharpen that. So I just replace the blade. And I think, I don't know, those number 11 blades, let's see here. Blade. 11 blade. What does that find? If I look on Amazon here. Yeah, Techna Edge Hobby Blades 100-pack for $12. You can get them really cheap on Amazon. And there will be a link to them in the description down below. I can also get a Cuisinart dough blade. I don't think that's what I meant, but you can try Amazon.
Now everything you search for the next week will be you have little ads for blades on it.
Yep, that's fine. I'm okay with that. Do you have a? Hey, I have a good question for you, Terry. Do you have a favorite X-ACTO blade? Like handle, the knife handle.
I just have. Where is it? That's on my bench. It's just a standard. I think it's the number 11, the bigger blade.
Yeah.
The standard blades and just a standard aluminum handle. I've had the padded ones and it just can't. It just doesn't seem to fit my hand very well. A good old basic one.
Yeah, I've tried the ones that are like padded and stuff. My main concern is your hand is on the part that's supposed to spin, and that loosens the blade.
Constantly.
Now, I've got this. This is my new go-to. This is my secret here. X-ACTO has a designer series craft knife. Oh, this is the swivel one. This is kind of neat. A swivel knife is really cool because the blade actually spins in there. This is not the. I'll have to find a link to the right one. X-ACTO designer knife. See if we can find this guy. That's a swivel. That's the craft one. Here we go. So I have this one. I did not get the pink one, unfortunately. They sent me a black one. That's fine. But it actually tightens at the back side of it, which is cool. So your hand isn't mashing the thing. So I have one of these, and it stays tightened all the time. And I actually like the really bulbous sort of handle, especially if you're cutting out lots of stuff. It doesn't dig into your finger. So
my friend Alan, the other part of Vector Civic Creations, he has that same knife, the pink one, and he uses it doing peppercurl all the time, and he loves it.
It's great. We'll have a link to that guy in the description as well. The X-ACTO Designer Series. But again, that screw on the back side of it makes a huge difference. All right, let's grab one or two more here, and then we'll be all done. This one's from Frag Bag, which I think is an awesome name. I'm trying to come up with a way to create lightweight hollow cylinders in various diameters and lengths. Any ideas? So tubes. Tubes. You can get in many different... I would say, I mean, PVC pipe, right? Wouldn't that...
Yeah.
Get you most of the way there?
I save so many things. I have this drawer here that is tubes and rings, and anything round, tube-shaped or ring-shaped that I think I might be able to use in the next 5 years goes in that bin. So anytime I need something, I go rifling through it to see what I have.
You can also look up. I mean, we have a Tap Plastics here, which is amazing. They have a whole bunch of different tubes in like acrylic or polycarbonate. I don't know how much variation you're going to get in the wall thickness on those, but it would be worth checking out. And you can also look online. I'm just looking on Amazon right now, and I see a bunch of look up acrylic tube. There's a bunch of different options for different things. So shop around, keep your trash, and yeah, there you go. Thank you, Frag Bag. Let's see here. Bloop, bloop, bloop. This one's from my buddy Eric over at Core Greek, a new blog called Core Greek. He wants to know, speaking of sanders, how do you like the detail sander you bought a while back? Is it worth the money? It's the little Proxxon sander. It's like your mouse sander, only the tip of it's like that big. And I'll be honest, I haven't used it very much. It's meant for a very specific thing, like doing small model work. And I imagine it would be great for finishing kits. I have not finished many kits lately, so the jury is still out on that one. I haven't come up with a yay or nay on it yet. I'll let you know though, Eric. Or if you want to borrow it, Eric, next time you're here, you can borrow it. All right, let's take one more. Oh, this is a good one. From Gilbert Tees. What new material are you interested in trying? I just tried Warbler and will not keep its shape in your car in Arizona. That's right. Warbler melts. It's a thermoplastic. How about you? Do you have any new materials that are exciting and you want to try out?
The urethane tooling foam. I want to see what that's all about.
I have a big old box of it. Do you have any of that?
No, I haven't. I've never even held a piece in my hand, so I have no idea.
Oh my god! Send me a message later, and I'll mail you some. I have a whole box of it.
Okay. Sweet.
The tooling foam is really, really cool, and it lathes really well. It's cool. What was the other material you mentioned? Trufan?
Just I'd like to try the Trufan, a piece of that to see what it's like.
What is Trupan?
It's the MDF we were talking about earlier.
Oh, the LDF. Yeah, definitely. I'll tell you what. I have apparently Smooth-On sent me a care package with a bunch of little doodads to try, and I'm excited to see what's in there. Because I really just sort of stick to like Rebound and Smoothcast. Like, I haven't tried a lot of their products, and they have so many really cool things. So I'm excited to see what they send me. I did just recently pick up some of their Mold Max 20T, I think, or Mold Star 20T. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Mold Max 20T silicone thing. Yes, performance silicone rubber. Yeah, Mold Max. Where is it? There it is. 10T? Translucent. 20 or 15T. Might be Mold Max, might be Mold Star. I don't know. Anyway, it's a silicone. It's transparent. Is the upshot?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of cloudy a little bit, but you can actually see through it. And it has, and when you're mixing it, it has a very low viscosity, so it mixes very easily and it pours very easily, which is nice. Maybe it was Mold Star. Let me just 20T, just to double check that we have the right information here. Yeah, Mold Star 20T. That's what I got. I saw them use it on Frank Ippolito used it on a video on Tested about mold making. He put a tint in it because it's transparent. Both sides are transparent. You can't have a color in it, otherwise the finished product will have a color. So you got to mix it really fast. Make sure it's all mixed. It has a you can demold in 30 minutes. Is the other thing too, which is crazy cool. So if you're making a small, quick mold, that stuff is awesome. So I'm looking forward to playing with that. I just got a trial size kit of it. What you got there?
I think this the Moldstar 16. I want to say that's 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Time, but that's just your standard green goo.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Gilbert Tees, for your wonderful question. And that's gonna about do it for us, folks. Thank you, everyone, so much for coming up here live. Oh, we're leaving. That's fine. We're gonna just go play Destiny after this. It's okay. Once again, folks, if you haven't already, go check out Vector Sigma Creations at vectorsigmacreations.com. Go look them up on Facebook. Do it. Yes, do it. Do it now. Go look them up on Facebook and give them a follow, because Terry's always making really rad stuff like that Monte Carlo that I'm really excited about. The last thing I have is, look at that on eBay. I might be bidding on that soon. I don't know. I want that glitter helmet.
I'm hoping for my taxes to come back soon. I don't want to buy something from him.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I clicked on the right tab, the Foamsmith Trilogy for $12.50 right now. Fantastic deal if you're looking to get into foam armor making. And finally, again, if you do want to give the show a little bit of help, we got our patreon.com/punishedprops and give us a little hand. Thank you, Terry, so much for hanging out with me for the last hour.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure, sir, and we'll definitely have to have you on again sometime.
Thank you, everyone, for your questions.
Yeah, these guys are awesome. These guys bring the goods. All right, we're going to roll on out of here. Everyone have a great week, and we'll see you again on the next episode of Prop Live. Bye.
Bye.